This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
Anthony for three. Bang!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I am Ruckus.
And I'm Spence the Menace.
This episode, we're going to be telling you about our good, bad, and ugly. We'll tell you about our color commentary, which is focused on the early free agency period with franchise tag and whatnot. Then we will go to our primetime game where we summarize what happened from last week's. And then we'll talk about our National League picks for our prime time. Then we'll go to the high heat as we talk about our MLB preview for the National League. And then we go to our stud and dud. But Spennis, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am definitely I'm quite bummed because all of my primetime information, because of a power surge, I lost it, but but I will very easily be able to make all of this up on the fly kind of as I roll along. So not that I'm behind the eight ball, it's just that I was on it and then some things happened yesterday, but it's wedding month. So there's that. I've been preparing to get all my stuff moved. All I'm waiting on now is the space to start dropping things off so that the moving process for me can begin. Other than that, it's mostly been just kind of keeping things chill. Really kind of just keeping things chill, playing a little bit of Hogwarts Legacy still. And
Are you enjoying it at least, the Hogwarts game?
Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy's turned out great. And my Captain Edition is officially fully pre-ordered for MLB The Show. I miss at least a week of playing after I get a whole bunch done the first day it comes out. But I hope to not be too far behind when all is said and done.
I'll probably wait until it loads up on Game Pass this year because I don't feel like really spending extra just to play it like a couple days early or a week early or whatever it is, because I just don't want to. I mean, I feel like it's still going to be a grind like it was last season, but I don't want to grind on it as hard.
Oh, the last couple of years it's been day one for standard, so I mean, you're ultimately paying for the membership to get it on Game Pass anyway. But for me, because PlayStation doesn't have it and I'm getting it for my PS5,
yeah,
I gotta kind of do it that way. And of course, the fun of getting Diamond Dynasty and kind of understanding how everything works and doing some storylines, and I want to get as much as I can done before rehearsal dinner, and even before I go to bed on the night before the wedding, so that I eventually can get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to actually make some phone calls. But
yeah. Well, as far
but
as go ahead. Sorry.
I said, but I'll be quite all right. I mean, there's still a few weeks out, but looking forward to it.
All right.
What you got?
My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt. But anyways, I am kind of in between playing Atomic Heart, playing Warhammer Darktide, and some other random games that kind of just set in when it comes time to play them, I don't know. I get into a mood sometimes with games where I'm like, do I really want to play that game? No, I'm pretty tired. Or do I want to do this or that? Maybe I'm not in the mood for that. You get what I'm saying. Atomic Heart has been on my mind a lot lately because the game's pretty good as far as gameplay goes. Story could be worked on, but the game runs well and I like playing it. It can get to be annoying sometimes whenever you get spotted by like an enemy webcam or whatever it is, like a sensor, because then a bunch of these like robots start coming after you, and then you're just like trying your best not to die from it. Other than that, I've been watching YouTube, a lot of tech YouTuber stuff, and most recently a bunch of XFL highlights and things of that nature, and then sleeping, a lot of sleeping.
Yeah, because I think your schedule has kind of taken its own set of alterations.
Yeah, and like I just got back off of overtime, so I have more time to myself now, which is great. Like really it was only an hour difference, but still like I just I just feel more better, if that's even a sentence, but whatever. Some grammar Nazi could let me know later on. But yeah, sleep has just been a priority for me because man, those are some stressful times a couple weeks ago with the lack of sleep. But yeah, I'm getting through it. We have all got our own paths. All right,
Yep.
Spennis, let's go into the starting lineup.
All right. Okay, so the question I want to ask you, do we want to start with basketball or boxing?
Let's get the boring stuff out of the way and go with boxing.
Well, because it was about the Tommy Fury Jake Paul match on Sunday. Jake Paul finally loses. Everybody hyping this guy up, and he loses to Tommy Fury in a split decision to give the problem child his first loss.
Yay! Don't care. Dude, it's bad enough that his older brother, which is like the more toxic one, is in the WWE. Like, I'm sorry, but who gives a shit about these two?
Okay. Hear me out on Logan, though. He has actually done pretty decently well for himself in the WWE.
I feel like he spends more time scamming people than he actually does in WWE, though. Like, he had the crypto stuff, and even before that, he did some really messed up stuff, but, like, the WWE is mostly acting. I'm sorry, kids, but Santa, well, I shouldn't say that. That's screwed up in one set or another, but, the WWE is not real. It is fake. Santa is real, by the way.
Yeah,
Just
it's clearly WWE is clearly scripted.
yeah, so that's why I'm
But
like, who cares?
But for the work that he has been doing in the WWE at this point in time, he has actually made himself look like he is like it's kind of one of those things where it's like just look like you belong. And he's kind of done that.
I think he probably did a better job marketing Prime than he did with WWE. I kind of want to get off this subject. I don't want to go into another rant.
Yeah, but I mean, I just was saying that it's like actually I think I watched like his appearance in the Royal Rumble and it that back and forth clothesline springboarding off of the ropes with Ricochet actually looked really good, and he's just looked like he's just looked like it's fit.
The only thing I liked about the WWE before all that was Ric Flair when he would go, woo! Woo! That man was a party animal.
Of course. But now we go into basketball, where we're going to have, I think, 4 different major pieces here. And we're going to start with the injuries. LeBron has injured his foot, and they're fearing that on the time frame of that, LaMelo Ball is done for the year with a fractured ankle. The Bucks have been sold for $3.5 billion. Damian Lillard scored a career high 71 points against the Houston Rockets.
It's Dame time, baby.
And this, although this is college basketball, the famous TikTok college basketball celebrities, the Cavinder twins, have become subjects of the first ever NCAA name, image, and likeness infraction. Now, I never thought that it would have been college basketball that would have
Were they making money off of TikTok? Is that why?
I mean,
the little mini pennies that they would not see?
No, actually TikTok was not the problem. It was them, I think, meeting with somebody who I think was like a booster or something like that, probably while they were in the portal. That was the real issue of the NIL infraction.
Oh, so they were just being hella dumb. I see. I thought it was because it might have been like some legal action, like, because you know how on TikTok's like a couple years ago, people were stealing soap dispensers out of like public bathrooms and stuff. I was like, maybe they were one of the offenders of that. And there's people now stealing like Toyota Corollas and stuff like that now too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But no, this was not it. But now we go to the NFL, where you have the Bears possibly leaning toward trading away the top draft pick for assets.
What if they traded Chase Claypool?
I would love to see Chase Claypool get dealt, but I think that they'll probably hang on to him. But what has he really done there? Like, I don't even know if Chase Claypool is going to be solid enough that he would even stick around. But I think that the team the Bears would trade down to, would obviously have to look at it, would probably be looking at a quarterback. Either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
Or Nickelback. Go on. Sorry, that was a bad joke. I just realized that.
I knew where you were going with that. But realize that also technically a Nickelback is also, in talking football, that's also a third defensive back. is a third corner. So it's just like, that was absolutely terrible.
You're welcome, internet. There's a little bit of cringe in your feed there. All right, let's get back into this.
But the next 2 headlines are all centered around the Washington Commanders. But first, are you wanting what the Commanders have done right? Or what the Commanders may, or what may seem to be kind of the elements of the dumpster fire being exposed?
Let's go with the bad first, so we could feel better about ourselves with the good.
Well, the bad news is a little meatier because it's now the NFL owners are reconsidering the removal of Dan Snyder after he's made demands to not have any other legal liability. However, the main concern in the investigation, also on Dan Snyder from the feds, is a $55 million loan and other self dealings under the noses of minority owners, basically using the money from the team as his own personal piggy bank.
Oh, so you can't snort cocaine off of a hooker's stomach or something anymore? Damn, that's too bad.
I honestly, why would you as an owner of the NFL in good sense, why would you use the money from the asset that needs to actually do something good to really do that? This is further signage that Dan Snyder has been the worst owner in NFL, I mean not just NFL history and not just in the current NFL today, but it's like I think this is almost as bad as like some of the other owners who pretty much have been forced to sell or kind of have gotten the boot. I mean Donald Sterling's was bad enough. I mean Robert Sarver, like a whole bunch of but this has gone like all of this is like so much under the table stuff that's been, and it's like Washington has really needed a new change in ownership. But not only are we going through a change in ownership, we also will be going through a change at QB1. As Carson Wentz is no longer a Washington Commander and has been cut.
Oh man, you lost the backup quarterback of the backup quarterback. So sad.
Well, we knew that Sam Howell was going to be the starter for this year anyway, and
Which is
he's
good.
been touted as such, and Bieniemy should be able to do something with him. So yes, that time for Carson as a Washington Commander came in Wentz.
He has more time for shooting ducks and deer and all that good stuff now. That was my best thing in a southern accent. You're welcome.
And Deron Payne has been franchise tagged by the Commanders. This is also that $26 million that we freed up from letting go of Carson Wentz. $19 million of that just went to Deron Payne.
We kind of did that same thing with trading Tyreek Hill in a sense last season, where we instead of giving him a big contract that he was wanting, we decided to trade him to Miami where they would give him a big contract, and then we used whatever cap money we were going to use on Tyreek on other small deals too. But yeah.
Well, that would be other small deals. This was the unloading of a potential big deal for another big deal that we should look to sign him long term.
Yeah, and I think Justin Reed was the guy that we signed first on the first day of free agency as well last season too. So I think we are saving for that too. But in Beach Beach West over in KC Mo, not so much for Dan Schneider though.
Oh, I mean, this is.
Is he who?
Mayhew, I think, is the GM now. So.
Oh, thank God. Okay, never mind.
So, yeah, he's not. Oh, Dan Snyder's not doing any GM responsibilities.
He's too busy He's too busy chilling in his yacht of a yacht.
So, which he probably ain't gonna have that no more.
I think the wife is gonna get repossessed too, if he even has one.
Oh my God. On that note, let's just move to the good, bad, and the ugly before
we're not
this
gonna
goes.
We're not gonna talk about Matt Nagy.
Oh. Well, other than that, we clearly knew that he was going to become the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs. What else is there really to say?
True story. All right, let's go into
My thought. My thought exactly. Okay, so for the good, bad, and the ugly, and I was waiting for Ruckus to just kind of start with his little like
Wah, wah, wah.
thing, and it's probably going through. It's just not coming through the headset. So, Ruckus, what's good in sports this week for you?
What's good in the hood? Baseball is back. Joe Mazzola gets his in. Go ahead.
Yep, it's Joe Mazzulla gets his interim tag removed and has been extended as the Celtics head coach. Yes, this may have happened about a week prior, but I kind of had to bring. And I know that we'll get into baseball's back here in a second, but I kind of wanted to address the Joe Mazzulla thing just simply because I'm super glad about this. He pretty much got his coaching career start in the great state of West Virginia.
Mountain Mama.
And played his college ball at WVU. Coached at Glenville, coached at Fairmont. Actually picked up the head coaching thing from I think it was Fairmont that he became the head coach of, and then eventually went on to the NBA.
Country roads,
So
take me home.
So yeah, a Division I basketball player that really ended up getting his major coaching nods before moving up into the pros in the Division II level. So you're not just getting it from the upper ends of college basketball. And Mazzulla is being very effective and is also, I believe, the youngest head coach in the NBA.
Also a plus, he's not harassing female coworkers either.
And cheating on Nia Long.
Uh-huh.
Yep. That ship kind of sailed a lot further along than where we wanted it.
Message in a bottle.
But baseball is back. We're getting ready for the season again.
Yay! And then Bali is somehow not bankrupt yet, but they're advertising $15 a month for their streaming service. Hooray! Anyways,
well,
that wasn't.
They also have. I mean, but then they also think MLB's got a 15, at least a broadcast team prepared for just in case something happens.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing a little bit of coverage to kind of prepare for the to have the safety net ready.
Yeah, and MLB.TV is also now on YouTube TV for people that did not know that.
Okay. So some of the things that were not so great in sports this week.
I mean, there's mixed opinions on the pitch clock regulations. Some people think it's dumb
there
and
needs to be more time. I think that clock regulations are good. It's speeding up the game, but I'm sorry, 15 seconds for the base is empty? I think, Manfred, though you have a good thing with the pitch clock, I believe you have overcorrected, Mr. Commissioner. And I think that pitch clock regulations, especially for the you could probably get away with 25 to 30 seconds with the bases empty.
Couldn't they just adjust that though on the fly, or are they just gonna say "F it"? We're gonna go with this.
I think it's gonna be that this is what it is for now. But I really wouldn't be surprised if they should add a few more seconds on.
Yeah, I agree
Um,
with that. I saw something with the Aroldis Chapman on the spring training game that they had a couple days ago against the Guardians, where he went over that 15-second mark and tried to throw the pitch really fast before the umpire could do anything about it, and they still uh, I think they put that runner on. I don't remember what happened, but I just remember that the announcers were talking about how he tried to throw it really quick so that it would beat the timer or whatever, but didn't matter.
yeah, I agree that limiting pickoffs is good for speeding up the game. I agree that the pitch clock the pitch clock's a good thing to try and speed up the game.
So pickoffs are illegal
Just,
now?
no.
Oh,
No, I
okay.
said they're limiting the number of pickoffs.
So how many can you do?
I think it's less than 3.
I mean, yeah, I could see that. Like, if you're trying to check a guy, but you don't want it to be 5 or 6 times in a freaking at bat, I could see
Yeah.
that being annoying. But I
Yeah,
thought
because
when you said that they pretty much abolished it. I was like, are you kidding me? That's the most fun
no,
part
it's
of it when the
no, it's
fans
a
boo.
limited. No, it's a limited number of pick. Like they're restricting the number of pickoffs you can do.
Is it per
Because if
inning
you,
or per batter?
I am not 100% sure if it's per situation or not.
I feel like
Because
it would be per batter. If it was per inning, that would be kind of asinine, to be honest.
yeah, that is true. Because I think if you do more than 3 or I think it's if you do more than 2 that the runner's going to get awarded a base.
Which sucks because if you have a speed demon on first and you're trying to be like, hey buddy, I'm laying down the law, you could only do it twice, and then that runner's gonna be like, oh, you can't get me now, can you? Huh? Yeah, Manfred stopped you from doing that. If you do this,
Well,
you get a free base.
and here's why. And the reason why that is Manfred is trying to encourage more base stealing.
I mean, yeah, you also increase the size of the base too.
The pizza box.
The nice pizza by you know, I think that the pitch clock thing is a little of a stretch because I enjoy the longer in betweens of pitching and whatnot, but I feel like I think that I would rather uh they would rather make it to where the batters can't always adjust their batting gloves rather than put it on the pitcher, because the pitcher is doing other shit too, but I feel like it's less on the pitcher. It should be more on
Do
the
it
hitter.
or just take some. Here's where I'm also take something from Banana Ball. Take something from Banana Ball. Once you're in the box, you can't get out.
Right.
If you step out of the box for anything, it's an automatic strike. I think
Yeah,
that's
and
one.
my dad famously once said to me in Little League, stay in the box because I was too big of a chicken to stay in the box because I was always afraid I was going to get hit by a pitch. It was also a kid pitch, so I mean, how are you not going to be scared that some dude just going to nick you in the arm with a baseball?
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
hit many times, and there was one time where my arm got heavily bruised, and it didn't feel good. We don't talk
Yeah.
about that. Speaking of
I thought it
how
was we didn't talk about Bruno or Fight Club.
well, you done talked about it. Now Brad Pitt and frickin' what's his name are gonna come after us and slit our throats. Alright guys, this has been episode 46 of Ruckus and The Menace, and we will not make any more episodes. No, I'm just kidding. Edward Norton is probably gonna come after us too. That's who I was thinking of.
I just was throwing that out there as a joke.
Well, I was taking your joke and running away with it, obviously. Gaw! Gaw! Alright, are we ready to do the Dame
Oh
story?
yeah. Yeah, there was the day Dame Lillard was drug tested after his 71-point performance, and it wasn't like the standard one that you normally hear about with the with
Piss
the
with
with the
piston and cups.
urination.
Piston cups.
This one was a blood drawn test, and
Aw, my
and
man.
Dame is not a needles guy.
I don't think
I mean,
anybody really
granted that he's
is.
got tattoos, but the problem is that if you're getting blood drawn, that's not the same type of needle.
Yeah, and it's not fun either because there's like more to it than like a pee test. Because pee is more like it's been in your system for like maybe 24 hours, depending on whatever substance that they're looking for that's being processed in your body. Whereas a blood test, oh, that's like almost like a hair test, buddy. That could be in there for months, hell, even years. Good luck.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Dame has been otherworldly this past month.
It's Dame time,
Averaged-
baby.
Well, he averaged 40 points in the month of February, including that 71-point performance. There and the fact that they decided to drug test him and realized that it was like after like some strange like like big plays or something like that, or a huge game, and you notice it throughout that people could have like a huge game and all of a sudden you just hear them get like, oh, you got drug tested afterward. Sorry, why can't people just appreciate the greatness and then just run him subject to a test about
there's something called fairness in the game.
Well, what would make you think that Dame was being unfair with scoring 71? He can't just have an on fire shooting night.
I mean, I can see I see your argument because you could say the same thing about like Kobe Bryant or other players that have had like really big nights, and I think wasn't the guy that played for the Lakers that like scored like 100 points, I think, wasn't that like Wilt Chamberlain?
Chamberlain was a Warrior, I think, when he did that.
Okay. For whatever reason, I thought he was a Laker when he did it. But anyways, could you imagine if they did that to Wilt Chamberlain back in the day? I feel like a bunch of people would just be like, come on, he had a game, forget about it. Whereas now it's like some random person's like, all right, do this, sign here, and you're done.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's like, can't we just appreciate it?
Yeah, I don't blame you there. But the devil's advocate version of this is we gotta be fair with everything, and everybody gets a trophy and this or that, but we also, for whatever goddamn reason, can't just have fun. And I know it's not all about the everyone gets a trophy thing, but still, like, it's kind of that, it feels kind of like that mindset and a hint of it.
Alright. So the biggest thing that was downright ugly in sports this week was Byron Jones talking about NFL training staffs and just kind of the NFL training staff's practices.
If you don't know who Byron Jones is, he is a cornerback for the Miami Dolphins. He was signed 2 years ago by the Dolphins and has been suffering a lot of setbacks. Just kind of like what Spence is saying with the legs and not being able to jump and whatnot.
Yep. And I saw a TikTok from Emmanuel Acho about the warnings that Byron Jones gave, where he said he can't run or jump due to the injuries and kind of warned players to actually consult outside doctors. And what he has said, he said, do not take the pills that the training staff gives you. Do not take the injections they give you. Says if you absolutely must, consult an outside doctor to learn the long-term implications. And he said that much has changed in 8 years. today I can't run or jump because of my injury sustained playing in the game. Do not do those things. This is a major thing.
Well,
It was an
also
honor.
take into a
Said that it was an honor and a privilege to play in the NFL, but it came at a regrettable cost that he did not foresee. No amount of professional success or financial gain is worth the avoidable chronic pain and disabilities. Godspeed to the class of 2023.
Okay, what I was going to say was, this is coming from a player that's playing for the Dolphins. They've had worse stuff happen to them earlier in the season, with Tua going down with concussion, and then outside help with the doctor pretty much said that he was good to go for the next week, and then he suffered another concussion, and then was set back for weeks and weeks and weeks, and kind of didn't really come back for the rest of the season. And then you had the same shit happen to Teddy Bridgewater. He still kind of played, but you get where I'm going with this. That medical staff is garbage when it comes to like stuff like that. They need to be better about it, and that doctor ended up getting fired that did the concussion stuff, but still.
Yeah, but I have a funny feeling that these issues probably had existed even throughout his time in Dallas.
Yeah, probably.
And he pretty much played nearly every single game in his career up until last year.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that also with players never being at 100%, you kind of have that going for them, and that not all of these, it's like all of these trainers are going to want to try and get you back out on the field. But for what? It's like you're better off trying to be at 100% and get back out there.
Right.
Or at least as close to it as you possibly can without having to deal with the shots and the injections and all these things that could lead to longer term consequences.
All right, now we are moving on to the color commentary. And in this
pretty
week's
much after speaking through the NFL, we go right into another NFL segment.
This week's color commentary is called "Should He Stay or Should He Go?"
And the question is, for these potential free agents that are major franchise players or key components, should that person stay with their team with the team that they were currently previously on, or go to another team? Daron Payne would have been on this, but he is currently franchised, so he is staying. But the potential of him going to another team should Washington decide to pay the other Pied Pipers, or Phil or Fedarian Mathis develops, that might lead to a potential departure in Daron Payne if we cannot afford him.
And also,
first one on the list. But in this case, the first one on this list is Saquon Barkley.
I think he tests
were
free
you gonna
agency.
say something before then?
Oh, I was gonna say something like the franchise tag. Did you want me to talk about it or just wait for another time?
Well, we know that the standard of the franchise tag is you sign him for a 1-year deal for worth the franchise tag price, and the intent of it is to try and to use that to extend them. Otherwise, you get the 1 year with that price tag, and then they're available to be franchise tagged again on an increased price.
Also, the franchise tag lasts till the end of the year, but the team has till July 15th to actually try and attempt to make an extension on that player if they so choose. But like Spence said, it would be more expensive for the 1-year deal than it is for an extension, depending on the extension.
Well, no, but then it would also be more expensive for them to do it a second time.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exact example Kirk Cousins. Yes, I'm using a Commander's example, but what happened to Kirk Cousins? But you're saying that Saquon Barkley goes and tests free agency.
Yes, because he had one good year with the team that he was drafted on after having many seasons where he hurt his leg, quote unquote. Um, I think he goes into free agency because because you know how like Christian McCaffrey was seasons ago, he was always injured and whatnot, and then he went to another team and then just magically did better. Like, who knows if these players are actually injured or if they're just sidelining because their team is not doing very well.
But here's the problem with you saying that. If Saquon goes and tests free agency, the running back market is not quite as good. The running back market is a very by committee market. You're not going to get very like 3 down running backs are a dime a dozen. If you're saying Saquon Barkley goes, what team honestly takes him?
I could see maybe the Buccaneers could take him, or possibly like the Cleveland Browns if they give up Kareem Hunt in the offseason. Who knows really where he would go.
Well, consider that the the Bucks also did just let go of Leonard Fournette at his request. That's the first thing I could say. Yeah, Tampa Bay is a considered option. But I honestly think the best move for Saquon, if the Giants want to continue and pick up where they left off last year, the best thing for Saquon for me, honestly, stay put. Stay put and get something long term, get something a little bit longer term. Your better bet at this point is stay put. Because that team is going to have you be a franchise player.
All right.
The next one here is Lamar Jackson.
I think the best bet for this man is to stay put, even though him and the organization haven't been on the best foot because of contract discussions and whatnot. I think he needs to come to an agreement with both parties and stay with the Ravens. Because other than that, they have Tyler Huntley, but like after that, you're kind of screwed, and that really showed during near the end of the season into the playoffs for the Ravens.
This situation with Lamar Jackson waves a flag, but that flag is red. It is not white for surrender. It is red, as in there are too many red flags right now with Lamar Jackson and really, honestly, staying in Baltimore. Yes, I'm saying it. There are too many red flags for Lamar Jackson in staying. Number one, if he's wanting fully guaranteed money, which he really isn't even worth, it's not going to happen.
Maybe he becomes a Raider or
I don't think it'll happen.
Miami Dolphin.
Number two, his play style. His play style is too much of a red flag. Too reliant on his legs, not great on his arm. You kind of need a little more of a West Coast. I think you need a little more of the dink and dunks with Lamar Jackson that also would allow him to move. And I don't know what this new coordinator's offense would be to try and tailor to a Lamar Jackson. So honestly, I think my best bet for Lamar Jackson is go.
Where do you think he lands?
This is this is where it gets a little dicier. There are very limited options for him to honestly find a good spot to land. Because Tennessee is deciding to continue with Brian Tannehill, though the read option stuff with Derrick Henry would have been great. I think if the whole two, well, I think the whole two situation, Lamar Jackson just doesn't have the arm strength to go to Miami. Lamar is not the right fit in New York. I think that honestly, if they were able to afford it, I think you go. I think you go Vegas, but I think that ultimately, I think Lamar will stay, but he should go.
All right, next one is Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
I think he should stay in Jerry World because he had some good seasons as of late, and if because I don't think Ezekiel Elliott's on this list, but if Ezekiel Elliott were for whatever reason to get hurt or just
Zeke's still under contract. That's why he's not on this list.
yeah, I just feel like Tony Pollard is a really good 1-2 punch with the Cowboys.
I think that Tony Pollard could very well become the new running back one, and Dallas will draft their second running back. Now,
that could work
where does
too.
this leave Zeke? Where does this leave Zeke? Trade him for assets. I think that Zeke has been on the decline. So you really kind of want to trade him for a little bit of value, or whatever value you kind of got left. And Tony Pollard becomes a running back one.
Yeah.
I think if he goes, though, Carolina would be a fun bet for him to go. But I think Carolina's a little too quarterback needy. So
all right.
I think that Tony Pollard should stay.
Yeah.
Geno Smith.
Oh man. He had a really good season with the Seahawks. I think they play the smart move and have him stay. And then if they want to like prepare for the future, they keep him until they get a quarterback that they drafted or signed as a undrafted free agent to learn from Geno and use that wisdom to be successful. So I say stay.
In spite, or even if the Seattle Seahawks choose to draft a quarterback, Geno Smith stays in Seattle. This is going to happen. Franchise tag him, but then have him prepare the way for his successor. Orlando Brown with Kansas City.
I think it's kind of been speculated for like the past couple weeks now on news outlets that I follow for the Chiefs, but it sounds like he's going to get franchise tagged again, so I would say he stays. It's just going to be a little bit more expensive this time around compared to for the first time.
I think he goes. And this is because I do not believe the Chiefs will have enough cap to cover certain free agents that they want to bring in and Orlando Brown. I don't know if they'd be able to do it all without completely restructuring a lot of contracts.
I mean, they're going to be restructuring contracts regardless. It's. Do you know who you're talking about right now? the best GM in the National Football League, a man that has put out a Super Bowl contending team for 4 years straight, a man that has sacrificed the contract of a $500 million quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Joe Tooney. You want me to go on? I think I think he's going to get franchise tagged again, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they extend him. The one player that would be in this in this go away list for the Chiefs is most likely Clyde Edwards-Helaire, as they declined his 5th-year option most recently. So I think
Oh,
he gets traded or cut or whatever. Orlando Brown stays.
yeah, but I think they've also got another tackle as well that they also had not franchise tagged.
Wiley usually signs like 1-year deals, or he's just gonna sign somewhere else. You also have Niang, and Niang technically had an opt-out year, so I don't know if he gets claimed back or whatnot, but he's more of a lesser value pick because he
Yeah,
just hasn't played a lot and he was injured for pretty much the whole season. We still have other offensive linemen like Darian Kennard, which was a rookie last year that played mainly on the practice squad. Um, and then we had many other players as well. But we could always still draft higher in the draft and get offensive linemen there and tackles and whatnot too. Anyways, let's go to the next
all
one.
right. We're gonna go into the Buffalo franchise tag situation. I put Tremaine Edmonds here, but Jordan Poyer also should be to considered here as well.
Um, I don't know. I feel like they would probably want to upgrade from Edmonds, but uh, I mean they already kind of did that with Von Miller, even though Von Miller's not even in the same realm as Edmonds as far as cornerbacks go, because Von Miller's more of like a right outside linebacker or left outside linebacker compared to like a guy that's more out in the middle trying to watch
Yeah.
and yeah, anyways. I think he probably goes to another team.
I think Edmonds goes, but Poyer stays.
Yeah.
Jesse Bates for the Bengals.
All right, I think Jesse Bates leaves because his projection wasn't as good, but there were early sources that suggested that Jesse Bates would be of interest to the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think that was just a dumb early rumor where they put that out there to get more views because it's a dead time in the news. But I
That
think
and I
he
don't think
goes.
y'all. That and I don't think y'all have the money for it. Not that Veach wouldn't make it happen. I just don't think you have it.
Fair enough.
But I think Jesse Bates also should go. But I think that a team that is a little more safety hungry would be a team that would take him.
What if the Dolphins took him? That'd be kind of insane because you have Xavier Howard as well on that side.
That's the corner.
Still though, like it's near the outside. They're kind of similar in a sense. Anyways,
Evan Ingram.
I think because he's on the Jaguars, correct?
Yes, this is with the Jaguars.
I think he stays because you're building something with Trevor Lawrence. They have Christian Kirk for a while. You've got ETN, who's a former teammate of Trevor Lawrence, which is on a rookie contract. You still have Lawrence on his rookie contract. You've got
I think you'd be foolish not to send him to stay.
Yeah, because I think Evan Ingram is going to stay. Because you even have Zay Jones still too, I believe. So like,
Yeah.
I think you keep him.
Yep. Josh Jacobs, does he stay in Vegas?
The way things are looking, I think he stays mainly because he is like one of the main key pieces from last season where he ran for a lot and did a lot of good things, even though the quarterback situation was a little iffy at times, especially near the end of the season. Um, and now Derek Carr is not going to be a Raider anymore as he was released like a couple weeks ago. And
Yep.
then I feel like it's in Josh Jacobs' best interest to stay, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes.
I think he stays, and I'd be surprised if he goes. Now that Derek Carr is out of the equation, it's time to see what the Raiders do in getting a quarterback there.
Yeah.
And then James Bradbury, the other corner for the Eagles, other than Darius Slay.
Um, I as far as contracts go for the Eagles, I don't know how much cap space they have, but also I don't know what they're willing to really keep him. But I feel like they probably will. I think it's probably best for him to stay if most of the core of the defense comes back, because you had Hassan Reddick in free agency. You brought in Adamik Sue at the middle of the season. You brought in uh, Robert Quinn. You brought in some other guys too, for sure. But I think if you if you are able to keep them, that's fine. I don't know about Namek Sue, but if Robert Quinn can be consistent, awesome. That's great for the Eagles.
I think that Bradbury stays, but I think really the number one thing that the Eagles would want to try and do is try and persuade Jason Kelsey to not retire. That is the big thing there.
Yeah.
But now that the color commentary is done, we now will recap last week's primetime game. Last week it was a Wheel of Fortune draft between Ruckus and I, and we played out the 3 games as we showed you on YouTube.
And if you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and stop the video and watch it. But if you don't care about being spoiled,
yep, we will get you right here. In game 1 at Fenway Park, it started out really, and I had a huge game with Vlad Jr. going 3 for 3 with a single, a double, and the go-ahead 2-run homer in the bottom of the 6th to give me the 4-2 win.
and the crazy thing is, I had the 1-0 lead for a while too, and then eventually it slithered away.
Well, I manufactured something well with Vlad Jr. with that double off the monster. But I just felt like Vlad Jr. was kind of the player of the game for game 1. In game 2, Ruckus chose not to start Shohei Ohtani, and we ended up going, I think it was 8? We went 8 innings?
Yes. And I made the dumb decision to pitch Luis Robert down instead of up high like I had him before to strike him out. But instead, it becomes a sacrifice fly in extras where Austin Riley scores from third and makes a 2-1 victory for Spennis, having him win the series. But we didn't stop there.
But my one run in that game came in the weirdest fashion too.
Yeah, freaking Bobby Witt hit a doinker off the first base bag, And I think it was a very, very, very cheap way of getting a run, but no one knew that was going to happen. There was actually a dedicated replay to that made by yours truly, Ruckus, because I wanted to know how in God's name it happened. But I mean, I was a little salty that I had a tie off of that, but I shot myself in the foot with that Luis Robert sack fly. I should have definitely kept it outside. But
Yeah,
I was in my phase of I just want to talk mad shit on Spanish and see if I could get a little lucky, but yeah. Your boy didn't do
yeah.
all that well. I lost both games for the best of 3, but we decided to do an extra game in game 3 at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And
And we
we
ended up
mainly
with extra players getting reps.
Yep, and Shohei did a decent job, but uh frickin' Cattell Marte decided, you know what,
Patel,
hold my beer, I'm gonna hit a bomb and win Spanish the game and make Ruckus look like an idiot going 0 and
and
3.
and don't get me wrong, that Cattell Marte home run was my only perfect of the entire night.
Do you have gunpowder that you could just rub this wound into?
No, I was just saying that was the I had just got I got a couple of very. I mean, the Vlad Jr. one wasn't a perfect for a home run, but I got something on it. But
Somebody
this
needs to get the S&P over here because I'm getting a little salty.
I just was saying that I was like that was the only one that I and you even will hear me say it in the commentary that was the only one I got the whole night.
Yeah, and I kind of screwed myself a bunch when it came to swinging at pitches I shouldn't have and just been more selective. But there were times where I should have swung at the damn ball, like with Diaz, with Schwarber. There were times where I should have swung at it way earlier, but I
Oh,
was,
you froze me with one on DeGrom. You
yeah.
froze. Yeah, there were a couple of times you froze me. So
I should have used Otani on the second game. I will admit that. I thought I was
I
being slick by putting Screwball in and then maybe winning that game and then using Otani for the third game. But there was no such thing as their third game as far as the record would show.
yeah, and it wasn't like I drafted or ended up getting like a better team. We were both kind of fairly equal.
Yeah, I just got very unlucky and I also managed it very poorly in a sense. Like I did what I could, but at the same time I could have done it a little better. But it
All
is
right.
what it is. We had a good
Yeah.
time, and also, again, good game, Spanish.
Yep. All right. And the primetime game for this episode is Pick Your Poison NL edition. Um, Ruckus, I think we're gonna do, and I think I'm gonna announce next week's primetime game as Pick Your Poison AL edition.
Yeah, that's fine. I figured that's what we were gonna do.
Yep. All right, Ruckus and I are picking between two blind resumes, and we select the player that we would take based on last season's results only. So if you have career stuff in there, Ruckus, get it out. It's just
I followed the rules
last
this
year's
time.
stats. Yep.
All right, do you want me to go first?
We have two position players and a starting pitcher. And I will let you go first.
All right, this first one is center fielders.
Okay,
All right.
so you were doing center field. Okay.
All right, so center fielder A had 414 at bats, 75 runs total, 64 RBIs, 20 stolen bases, a almost 300 average. It was actually 297 batting average, 19 home runs, 123 hits, and .339 on base percentage.
Okay.
The second hitter, or the second fielder, had 213 at bats, 39 runs, 45 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, a .254 batting average, 14 homers, and 54 hits, with a .325 on base percentage.
What was the on base percentage for center fielder number 1?
.339.
Give me center fielder number 1.
That was Michael Harris II of the Atlanta Braves.
The NL Rookie of the Year. Who did I pass on?
Jazz Chisholm.
Oh, wow. I'm shocked.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell because the stats are a lot shorter, and also Chisholm was out a lot longer too, so he couldn't really actually make better stats because of how long he was gone.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm shocked you put Jazz Chisholm in center field because he spent most of last year at second base. All right, so the position that I will be having for you here is an outfielder. Okay. Outfielder number 1 is entering his age 34 season. Last year, he hit .292 with 16 home runs and 63 RBI, stole 18 bases, and had an on-base percentage of .347. The second outfielder is entering his age 29 season, hit .240 with 12 home runs and 52 RBIs, only stole 5 bases, and had an on-base percentage of .321. Which one are you taking?
What was the OBP of the first one?
.347.
Let's go with B.
With outfielder B. You chose Ketel Marte.
Was the other one Starling Marte?
It was Starling. Yep, the first one was Starling Marte. So you went with a younger outfielder who had a lower batting average and a lower on-base percentage.
He also played for a shittier team.
Yeah. Starling Marte was also a Met. Yeah. All right.
All right. So this next one is your catchers. So, catcher A. 504 at bats, 75 runs, 84 RBIs, 21 stolen bases, .276 batting average, 22 homers, 139 hits, and .342 on base percentage.
And how many did you drive in?
He drove in 84 RBIs.
Okay.
The second one, 416 at bats, 65 runs, 55 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, .243 batting average, 22 homers, and 101 hits, and a .349 on base percentage.
Batting average of catcher A.
.342.
Oh, give me catcher A.
That is JT Realmuto.
Woo-hoo! I knew I was gonna get a very good one. And who did I pass on?
Wilson Contreras.
Contreras is good too. That was a really good pairing. That was a good pairing.
Yep.
All right. So
You're probably gonna hate my pitcher one, but anyways, I'll let you go ahead.
this one is shortstops. This shortstop is in his age 29 season. He hit 277 with 25 home runs and drove in 96 runs, stole 18 bases, and had an on-base percentage of .329. Shortstop number 2 is entering his age 30 season. He hit .307 with 15 home runs and 73 RBIs, had an on-base percentage of .377, and stole 8 bases.
All
While
right,
shortstop
who's
A also stole 18 bases.
all right? Let's go with the man in the mirror, number 8, or not 8, A.
Shortstop A. You have chosen Dansby Swanson.
Hey, who was the one that had the wimpy total of 8 stolen bases?
Xander Bogaerts.
Wah wah.
Well, Xander Bogaerts also is not as fast. But Bogaerts is the better hitter out of the two. All right.
All right,
And
here
we
is
are
your
the
pitchers.
starting pitchers.
All right, so pitcher A, his win-loss record was 12-13. ERA was 3.29. He played 33 games total, 202 innings pitched, 153 strikeouts, and his whip was 1.03.
Okay.
Pitcher B, it had a 12-8 win-loss, 2.94 ERA, 33 games, 202 innings pitched, the same as pitcher A, 243 strikeouts, and a .97 whip.
What did you say the ERA of the first pitcher was?
3.29.
Pitcher B.
That is Corbin Burns.
Okay. And who did I pass on?
Miles Michaelis.
Miles Mikolas? Oh, I ended up getting the better pitcher out of that. So, I mean, I've got Corbin Burns. I ended up with Corbin Burns, JT Realmuto,
And Michael Harris the second.
And Michael Harris the second. Okay. So, this one here. Pitcher number 1 is in his age 30 season. Last year, he had a win-loss record of 9-6 and had a 3.48 ERA. He threw 178 and a third innings, striking out 158, and had a whip of 1.093. Pitcher number 2 is also in his age 30 season. He went 8-10 last year with an ERA of 3.38. In 128 innings pitched, he struck out 171 and had a whip of 1.203. Who are you taking?
What was the whip of player A?
Pitcher A, 1.093.
Let's go with pitcher A.
You chose Jordan Montgomery.
Not bad, not bad.
The pitcher you passed on, Blake Snell.
I feel like Montgomery had a better season. Snell hasn't been the same.
And I'm kind of glad that I'm like, okay, I think the pitchers, I think I had like Kershaw initially.
Dude, I had a bad feeling that I was going to pick the same ones that you picked, but I also thought about doing Justin Verlander and like another pitcher, but I didn't know if you're gonna do that either, so I was just like, what's the best of both worlds? Michaelis and Burns.
Yeah, and I can't believe I picked like the crown gem out of like every single one of those.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alright.
and now we go to the high heat where we are giving a little bit more of a highlighted preview of the National League. As we've kind of done with our primetime game of choosing pick your poison in NL players, we now go into a preview of the NL. So the biggest moves of the NL's off season: Wilson Contreras to the Cardinals, Sean Murphy to the Braves, Justin Verlander to the Mets. The Cubs went on a buying spree that included the likes of Ruckus,
Dansby Swanson, Eric Hosmer, James Talione, and I feel like one more that I'm probably
Cody
missing.
Bellinger.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger as
Anyone?
well. So
And then
yeah,
the Phillies had
Oh
some
yeah, and Trey
upgrades.
Mancini. We forgot him.
Oh, and Trey Mancini. Yep. And the Dodgers were sellers, but the Phillies upgrades included Trey Turner, and I believe they also grabbed
Gregory Soto from a trade with the Tigers. They also got Craig Kimbrell, and like I think that's about it. I'm not entirely sure who else.
And then Xander Bogaerts to the Padres. Here are some burning questions that we have going into the 2023 season. I'll let you go ahead and ask the first one there, Ruckus.
All right, with the Dodgers being sellers this offseason, do they still have the firepower for a deep playoff run?
I believe that the answer to this question on my end is yes. I believe the Dodgers have just enough.
I feel like the
Especially if it stays
players,
healthy.
I think they need to be more healthy because not only did you just lose Gavin Lux, but like he's not like a huge piece of the puzzle, but you still got to make sure Mookie's healthy. Muncy had a lot of injury troubles throughout the year. Bellinger, who is now a Cub, had some injuries too. And now you just have McKinley, Chris Taylor. You traded for Miguel Rojas.
Well, Rojas, I think, is going to be getting the reps now. So
Right, and then you still have Freddie Freeman too, but like you lost some people, but you also gained a little bit. But I feel like they probably will have enough for a playoff run, but not a very deep one. I think they lost a step a little bit.
yeah, but you kind of would also have come to expect that after they basically sold the farm over the last couple of years for the real deep runs. But I think they have enough to get somewhere.
All
The
right.
second question that is thrown there: with a star-studded roster, will the Padres be able to move deeper into the postseason than last year?
I feel like most definitely if Tatis can get his act together, Juan Soto has a better year than last year. You still got Manny Machado. You got uh, uh I, Will Myers isn't even signed yet, has he?
I don't even think Will Myers is a Padre.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. You have Nelson Cruz now, but he's still aging like fine wine. You still got some pitching, but I think they definitely could move deeper with the amount of talent they have. They just need to stay in a consistent way with success and uh, stay healthy in the process.
I think the star power is going to prevent them from gelling a lot. it's gonna take some of these role players to try and push the Padres deeper, and I just don't think they're going to mesh as well together without having some sort of deadline deal to try and hold it up. Or ship at least one of them away.
Yeah.
This
All right.
the next question here. With the recent history of the Mets showing that the bullpen has been a weaker point in their roster, did they overemphasize on starting pitching this offseason by picking up Verlander and Quintana?
I feel like if anything, they probably benefit by having more starters. Like Verlander's a big piece, and also a former teammate of Max Scherzer when they were in Detroit. I think that adds a lot of volume to that. I mean, hopefully they don't repeat what happened in the ALCS in 2012 or 2013, whenever they
Yeah, it was 2013 because it was the Red Sox winning the series.
and Quintana, he isn't always consistent, but he could become a weapon, but he could also become a bullpen weapon if he doesn't do well enough to be a starter. You still got other players, but I think it's better to be safe rather than sorry, or at least do a little bit more rather than less, because you don't know if Verlander's going to be healthy the whole season. Scherzer's been very hit or miss when it comes to his arm. It definitely showed last season where he was pretty much gone for most of the season and then like came back later. Um, there's a lot of question marks on that team, but I don't know. I don't think they overemphasized. I think they did what they could, especially with Steve
Well,
Cohen as their manager or their GM, I should say.
I think that they spent a lot, but I wish they would have gotten another bullpen arm. Wish they would have gotten a bullpen arm to kind of support Edwin Diaz in case he goes on a major slump. So I'm going to say I think the Mets may have overcorrected a little bit as far as starting pitching, but they've always had a history of doing that, even
Yeah.
with getting rid of DeGrom.
All right. Will the Phillies' upgrades be enough to bring them to another deep postseason run?
I think they will, but I just don't know if they'll get to the World Series again.
I think they have a better shot with the bullpen they have, as long as the bullpen acts proper, because they have a stacked bullpen. I mean, besides Kimbrel being kind of hit or miss, like he always has been, um, you still have other weapons, uh, like Gregory Soto, who came off a really great year against or with the Tigers. Um, and you got David Robertson, who's a well-known reliever. I don't know. Both sides have to play well, and Trey Turner's gonna have to get used to playing with Harper again, and also uh, the rest of the All-Star cast that they have.
Well, Harper also probably won't get as much outfield time.
Right, he'll be a designated hitter with the amount of injuries he's had. Um, with the
And
numerous
then the last one, I was going to say,
acquisitions from other teams coming together, how quickly will it take for the Cubs to gel together, or will there be an improvement from last season? And
it
will
will
there be an
it,
improvement?
it will take them long enough to miss the playoffs.
I kind of disagree. I think they'll try to compete with the Cardinals and the Brewers, but I I I think it'll probably take them at least a month or two to gel together. Call me crazy,
But
but we'll see how it goes.
I think it will take them a while to. I think it'll take them a little while to gel. But I think it's just going to be more concerning about some of the performances they're getting in terms of their returns on their investment.
Yeah.
All right, teams with the potential to surprise people,
I
and we have four.
Yep. Um, we have the Marlins, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, and the Cincinnati Reds.
Yep. And the three teams that we feel will be most likely to disappoint, I have the Padres, the Phillies, and the Braves.
All right.
But, Ruckus, who are the three that you have in the division, and who are some of your teams that you feel have wild card potential?
All right. So I have for the NL East, I have the New York Mets. For the NL Central, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. For the NL West, I have the San Diego Padres. And then for my wildcard potential, I have the Philadelphia Phillies, the Atlanta Braves, the Chicago Cubs, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the San Francisco Giants.
Okay. My division champs in the East. I went differently than you, and I chose the Philadelphia Phillies. In the Central, I agreed, the St. Louis Cardinals. And in the West, I took the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are a team that is hanging on to. I think it's good. I think they're going to have enough to hang on to the West just simply because I think they are better constructed than what the Padres want. I think the Padres are going to, like how most super teams do, they kind of take a lot of slow burn to really get themselves going. My teams with wild card potential. I did agree with you as far as the Mets being able to make the playoffs and the Braves. And then I also had the Padres and the Giants. But the team that I contrasted with you on was actually the Brewers. I think the Brewers, especially in terms of having Corbin Burns as your ace, that is huge.
Well, there's also talks about Burns maybe not liking how much the team is willing to give him versus what he wants as well. There was some other drama between him and the team and how they weren't getting along, so who knows what's going on with that. But yeah, if he does stick with the Brewers and has success, definitely for the Brewers. But yeah, I think it's still going to be close. I think it's going to be closer than what you probably think.
Yep. And now that we've kind of concluded things, we're going to be wrapping up the pod with our weekly stud and dud. And we'll start with you this week, Ruckus.
All right, my stud this week is a XFL player that is a quarterback in the league. I think it was like San Antonio, or maybe it was the Renegades.
He is no. AJ McCarron is a St. Louis Battlehawk.
There you go. All right, Spen is saving the day. Woo! All right, AJ McCarron choosing the XFL to create memories with his children is my stud this week. And also an honorable mention, Peyton Manning giving his words of wisdom about Patrick Mahomes being a Hall of Famer, saying that he believes Patrick Mahomes is definitely for sure going to be in the Hall of Fame and he deserves to be in it now for what he has done. And then my dud this week is a future NFL player in the making, Jalen Carter, being connected to a car crash that became a race, or started as a race and then became a crash. So, sucks to be him. Alright, Spennis, go for it.
I mean, he's not. I mean, it's kind of unwise for a top NFL prospect to try and get his Dom Toretto on, even if nobody turns his back on family.
I mean, it's probably better. I think he's in a better situation compared to what Henry Ruggs III was in years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, especially because these are misdemeanors instead of felonies.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am going to mention that my stud this week is University of Houston graduate student outfielder Drew Bianco for making a home run robbery in center field and having to go over the fence, kind of flipping over it to make the grab against Incarnate Word on Sunday. My dud this week goes to Joey Votto for this weird prediction as a comment on MLB's Instagram post about the boldest NL Central prediction involving aliens, the Reds winning the World Series, and leaving the planet with the aliens. And honestly, to me, in my opinion, everything there just made absolutely no sense at all. But my honorable mention was the animal handlers near a sport complex in Orlando, as two free-flying trained parrots caused a stoppage in a college softball game between Bradley and Gardner Webb. One of the parrots even landed on the home plate umpire. And actually the cop and Ruckus, this would have been even better if you watched it. If you actually watched the clip. This
I
one
will
kind
definitely
of
check it out.
makes a whole... Yeah, it's like how normally you would see like sports stadiums get a flyover of like Air Force airplanes. This is a flyover of birds. Except they got a lit. Except they flew a little too close to the Earth. It's not like flying too close to the sun.
Yeah. So speaking of Bradley, I saw a notification before pod today that Jackie Bradley Jr. is now signing with the Royals on a minor league deal. Which isn't very surprising, but still, like, I just wanted to point that out there for Royals fans.
Yeah. Just go ahead and take us out.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And I'm Spence the Menace.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this with your friends and family and homies alike. Make sure to comment what you think about the episode, or just leave a like. Don't care how you do it, but also if you have suggestions, leave a comment as well. Spence, do you have anything for the homies out there?
No, I think we're good.
All right, see y'all later.
Yep, deuces.